Yo, what is up? It's FinSec with CB83 coming to you for another banger. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all in the building. Let's go. Let's get it cranking. A little Saturday night action. It's quiet in these Dolphin streets. It's super quiet. Shout out to the homie Shake Money who was in here first with the throw them fins up. Shout out to the homie Shake Money for coming through and showing love for the boy. Let's Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Shake. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. Hit that like button on your way in. Shout out to Hooked Up Joe and the members gang in here. I'll already know what time it is. We going up. It's Saturday night. We about to get it popping in here. Hit the like button. Share the link with everybody on your social media channels. You know how we do. You know how we get it cranking. Let's get it. Hey, what's poppin'? What's going on? It's your boy FinSec with CB83. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all know how we doing here. Y'all know how we get it cracking. Let's go, man. Hey, what's up with this guy? Trade Tour. What is you doing?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm telling you.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Man, nah, we ain't doing that. Shout out to the homie Shake Money and the hey, Shake Money was in here first. Shout out to the homie Shake Money holding it down for the members gang. Yes, sir. Hooked Up Joe in the building. Hey, I know y'all can't see the emojis on the screen right now. StreamYard need to fix that. But y'all know y'all see him in the chat. Join the members gang. Get the dope emojis. Y'all know how we crank it up in here. Chris, I see you. Great name, Chris. Great name. Yee. Let's get it, big dog. Let's get it, Chris. You already know what time it is. Let's go up for the homie Chris, man. Let's crank it for the homie Chris. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, spam them emojis. As Miss Fins would say, spam those emojis. Hey, shout out to Miss Fins. She's got a dope channel, too. If y'all don't follow Miss Fins on YouTube, go subscribe to her channel as well. She always shows love to me, always supporting. I appreciate that. Hey, let's get these channels to 13, 1400, 1500 subscribers, man. I'm about 10 away. I'm about 10 away from 1300. Help your boy by punching that like button and subscribing. It helps tremendously. Helps the channel grow, man. I really appreciate y'all. Who else we got in here? I got to do my roll call. So we got Anthony Manzano in the building. Anthony writing paragraphs right off the break. Your boy ain't wasting no time tonight. Manzano is writing paragraphs out the gate. Your boy couldn't even get warmed up. Jeez Louise, you cooking early. You cook.
He got cooked.
Adrian, you didn't go down like that, huh?
He got cooked.
Manzano, you cooking early, man. You cooking early. Shout out to the homie Anthony Manzano, always pulling up. The homie Jamie is in the building. I hope we didn't lose Eric Studsville. We'll see. He's a running backs coach. I think that's probably the easiest guy to replace on the roster. Easiest guy to replace. He said he has a lot of potential and is a leader. I mean, I like all our guys, but you can't expect to keep everybody. When you got a good staff, guys are going to come and go. It's about how you replace them, how you find ways to bring guys in, right? You got to constantly turn guys over. That's the NFL for you. It's a league where coaches come and go. If you got a good coaching staff, you got to expect those guys to leave, and you have to have a game plan in place for when they do leave. You got to be able to bring some guys in. Joe in the building says there are so many factors at play, including existing scheme. I prefer a guy with some DC experience, maybe Fangio system base that is run by a guy with more flexibility. Okay, I like that. And we're going to get into it, man. This is going to be talking about Fangio, the loss of Fangio, maybe talking about the next guys and what I want in a defensive coordinator. I think it's important to have the conversations about it, right? So we're definitely going to do that. We always do that. Shout out to the homie Hooked Up Joe. Big ups to the members gang. Hey, if you want to join the members gang, you can do that by clicking the $ below, right near the text in the chat, the reply, all of that stuff. I got to do my roll call for the members gang real quick. Let's shout these guys out. Shout out to, we got 9 members. Who's going to be the 10th member in the members gang? We got Cruz Ruiz, Raul Parada, Big Slick, Triple S Podcast, Hooked Up Joe, Sheldon Harris, Newfoundland, Shake Money, and Q. And then we also got people on the Patreon as well. We got some Patreon members. Shout out to, let's see who over there real quick. I know Riggy's over there. There's some people over here too. I think Thomas is over there. Joseph Francis is over there. So Joe was over there. Cruz was over there. Andravius is over there. Thomas S. Harris. Landon was over there. Fred Dunlap is over there. Q was over there too. So shout out to all the homies who were in the Patreon as well. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Hey, TDR in the building. TDR, what's cracking with you, my boy? TDR is the That Dolphins Realtor. He's That Dolphins Realtor on Twitter too. If y'all are on Twitter, be sure to check us out, man. That Dolphins Realtor. You can catch me at Finn's Take. I'm on there as well. Dang, Twitter kind of blew up this week, huh? I heard there was some beef in the community. Hey, y'all might want to throw a little steak emoji in the chat. I heard there was some beef this week. What's up with TD and Omar, man? TD, I know you in here high, man. Stop beefing with people, man. Gosh, man. Y'all dudes always up to no good, man. Always up to no good. Hey, do me a favor. Check out the newest member of the Team Bet US. You put $50 in and run the money up. You get a 125% sign-up bonus. You really can't beat that deal anywhere. And you click the link. Use the link. It supports the channel. I appreciate you guys, man. If you're into sports betting, Bet USA, Hard Rock, them some dope apps. For real. For sure. Who else is in here? Let's see. I'm getting it down. Hey, I see you. Red, White, and Bills is in here. What's up, CB83? Hope all is well. Salute to you, homie. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Cap is in the building. Cap for life. Always in the building. Everywhere. The dude is everywhere. It's like, hey, everywhere. He's everywhere. Who else is in here? Anthony Manzano, Q, yeah, the homie Q is here. The homie Trey is here. Trey, what's good with you? Emmanuel Dean is here. What's good? CB83. Fins Fan 7 is in here with the nonsense. Man, let's do it. Man, Anthony, I'm trying to get caught up, man. You might have to post them joints again because I'm going to keep moving. Raul Parada says, Trey, who? No way. Nah. Nubia Reed says, so happy to catch a live Dolphins fan living in London, UK. What's good? Fins up. We gotta go up for the homie Nubia Reed. Live from the UK. Let's get it. Hey, appreciate you, Nubia. We the best in the nation over here. We the best in the world. Let's get it. We the best in the world.
I'm the best in the nation. I'm supposed to be number 1 right now.
Nah, we supposed to be number 1 right now. Hey, I see y'all throwing them steak emojis in the chat. What's up with the beef? TD and Omar beefing. That's crazy. Y'all boys gotta chill. Man, it's a chill in the building. What's good, man? It's a chill. Man, let's get into talk about this Fangio situation, right? So I've always been, I've kind of been talking about this the past couple weeks. But Fangio in the situation, come to find out, a lot of the players really weren't vibing with Fangio. And I've always said this, guys, like when you have a real old school coach and you have a guy like a new school coach like Mike McDaniel, who's a player's guy, who's super nice and super approachable and just always open door policy. Sometimes that gap between the old and the new can be too much. It could be too much. And for a guy like Fangio, who probably wasn't excited about taking the job anyways, that was probably the icing on the cake for him, right? So he probably wasn't excited about being here. And somebody mentioned this the other day, that it did take him 9 days to sign his contract. So once he got announced at the Dolphins DC, they were still having a hang up in regards to, hey, why aren't you signing the deal? What's the reason for you not signing the deal, right? And supposedly there were other opportunities available to him. So he was thinking like, I don't know about this Dolphins job. Kind of came off second guessing it, right? And it seems like in second guessing it, he just wasn't fully locked in, right? Wasn't fully locked in, and as a result of not being fully locked in, some of the decisions he made and some of the way he had these player relationships just caused some damage to, I mean, not really the football team, but his unit for sure, right? And it seemed like a lot of the guys in his unit was second guessing him and some of the decisions he was making. So supposedly in these exit interviews, right, players were voicing their, their opposition to, how he was running the defense, right? Now, I'm sure after those interviews, right, Mike McDaniel probably sat down, right? He probably had a conversation with Greer by himself, right? So he probably had a conversation with Greer, and he said, "Hey, these are my concerns. I'm hearing a lot of this from players on the defense, and I'm gonna go talk to Vic about it and see how he feels about it and see where he is on it." And I'm sure he sat down with Vic and said, "Hey, this is my concern. These are things I would like to change for next year, right? And I'm laying it out on the table, right? And you're either for it or against it, right?" So I'm sure in that meeting he laid it out for him. Hey, this is where we fell short this year. This is where I'd like us to be better next year. And you're either going to be with the program or you're going to be against the program. And if you're against the program, we can, agree to mutually part ways and just move forward that way, right? Now, there's a lot of things that are on that list of things he could have done better, right? Cam Smith is one of them. Could have handled that better, right? There were games where we were blowing teams out and Cam still didn't get snaps. That's unfair. I think that's unfair in every aspect of it, right? You elevated guys like Ethan Bonner, and Ethan Bonner didn't belong on the field before Cam Smith. It just shouldn't have happened. Not at the place you draft him, because he was a second-round pick. So you don't put a guy like Ethan Bonner in over a second-round pick. You give him you have to give your second-round pick every opportunity to fail before you put a guy like Ethan Bonner in, and that's a problem, right? And I'm not mad at Mike McDaniel for approaching him like that, because that should be the case. I mean, that's a given, right? If you know football, hey, this is the situation. You have a second round pick. You're trying to groom this guy to replace guys like X, right? To replace guys like Ramsey one day. You got to see him. He's got to get snaps. That's like, honestly, that's like the Flores and Tua situation, right? Because that was a thing too, right? Flores felt, hey, Tua's not ready. If he was my son, I wouldn't put him out there, right? He's just not ready. And, Greer and Ross was like, bro, we got 2 first-round picks next year. Bro, we need to see what this guy looks like. We know Ryan Fitzpatrick is not taking us to a Super Bowl. We know he is not the future, right? We are currently 3-3 after the first 6 games. We have a bye week. After the bye week, we wanted to start Tua, which is fair. I mean, I think that's fair because, bro, we have to see him before we go into the draft. Like, come on. Like, I'm not going into the draft without seeing him play, because if that was the case, I would have drafted another quarterback. Keep drafting them until you miss. That's the motto, right? Keep drafting them until you hit, right? So keep drafting them until you hit. So, of course, they wanted to see Tua. And, of course, you want to see Cam Smith, right? You got to see him. He's a second-round pick. You want to see him get out there and make some mistakes. That's part of learning, right? And Fangio was dead-ass wrong by not playing him. He was dead-ass wrong, right? And it led to guys like X getting injured, right? And just because sometimes them guys don't need to be able to on the field all those reps, right? Sometimes guys need a rest. And when you have an opportunity to get Cam in the game to relieve somebody, get him in for a few reps, right? I mean, what harm could you do, right? In some of these games, you were blowing teams out. The Jets game, you were blowing them out, right? Tight games, I can understand you not getting him in, but there were blowout and plenty of opportunities to get him quality snaps in an NFL game, and it didn't happen, right? So that's inexcusable. I think how he handled that ultimately kind of led to him leaving, right? Just how he handled that. And that's just stubbornness, and I think anybody could see that. Anybody could see, if you know football and you know, hey, if we draft a guy in the second round and he's not getting trash time snaps, bro, you're not getting trash time snaps, bro, something's wrong. Like, you really pissed somebody off. And if Cam Smith really pissed him off like that, they should have had the conversation. They should have figured it out like men, and they should have moved on. Like, you don't hold a grudge on a kid for an entire season because, you know, he said something to you or he said you old or something like that. That's not how you do it. I mean, you can't hold a grudge like that. So that was inexcusable. Now, you also buried guys like Agba, right? You buried Agba on the bench. You didn't give him reps. You gave him reps when you had to, right? When you had to give him reps. Even in times where you were blowing teams out or you were down a bunch of points, right? Chubb shouldn't have been in the game when he got injured. Agba should have been in, right? He's just got too much snaps under his belt, right? You got to learn how to spill guys when you can, and you got to be smart about not playing them in times where, I mean, you're not playing for anything. That's just bad coaching. Bad coaching. And Mike McDaniel has really nothing to do with that. That's what I want y'all to understand. Mike McDaniel isn't calling out starters and stuff like that. He took that one on the chin and said, hey, you know, I should have probably got him out. But that's on Vic Fangio. He's the DC. Hey, go to the 2s and 3s, right? That's all you got to say. And that's his call from the booth, right? It's his call from the booth. He says, hey, get those guys out. I want put the younger guys in. Let Good get reps. Let some of these younger guys get reps. He didn't do that. He left them in there, and he left them in there probably to prove a point that, hey, you guys aren't getting snaps. You backup guys aren't getting snaps. Some of you guys I don't like aren't getting snaps, right? And that's where he dropped the ball. That stubbornness comes back to bite you, right? Comes back to bite you. Mansa Chill says, I'd rather watch Cam Smith try rather than watching Cater get cooked. And Cater was getting cooked at times in the slot. And I know Cater's in a tough spot because he's in a slot. And, you know, that's a hard position to play in the NFL, right? But you also got him on digs at times. You got to give Cam Smith an opportunity. He's a bigger guy. very athletic. Give him a shot. And honestly, I was at training camp. Cam Smith had a good training camp. Like, he was solid. People were talking about him. He was flashing. He was all over the field. He was making plays. Of course, he got beat sometimes, right? That's the nature of the game. That's the nature of that. You get beat sometimes, right? That's the nature of the position. But you got to give him an opportunity. Him getting 11 reps on the season, 11 plays? Is that correct that Cam Smith had 11 plays on the season and was a healthy scratch for multiple games? Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I'm looking it up. Can somebody confirm that for me? I think he had 11 reps. That is crazy. And that's inexcusable. And that's just stubbornness, man. That's stubbornness. You can't have that. That's stubbornness. And honestly, it you know, I'm a little tight about Vic Fangio leaving because I think he is a good mind. I think he is a good defensive coordinator. But sometimes the relationships matter, right? And I said this on the roundtable yesterday. And there's a TED Talk out there. There's a TED Talk out there by a lady named Rita Pearson, right? And the TED Talk it's titled "Every Kid Needs a Hero," right? And she's basically talking in a sense like she's an educator. So she was an educator. Her parents, you know, her mom grew up an educator. She was a teacher growing up. And the big proponent of the TED Talk, it was like basically that kids don't learn from people they don't like, right? And I think that's the same with adults to some extent. And adults are stubborn. We're humans, but we're not going to reach our full potential with leadership, managers, supervisors who we don't like. It's just, we just won't put out the effort. We won't be efficient. You can go in and clock in and do your job, but you won't be happy, won't be passionate about what you're doing, right? And I think that's what was happening in the Miami Dolphins locker room, is that guys just weren't happy with the unit, weren't happy with their leader. And sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes you got to work through that. And if your boss or leader is willing to communicate, willing to have the tough conversation with you, sometimes it can work out. It can get better, right? But in that meeting, I think Mike McDaniel says, he said, this is what we need from you moving forward. And if this is something you aren't willing to compromise on, then we probably need to part ways. And Vic Fangio said, I'm not willing to compromise. I got other people whispering in my ear that I could go there and take a position, especially being back at the crib. And he was like, I'm out. Thank you, guys. I thank you for the opportunity. But it's not even that I'm not willing to budge. I just think I got a better opportunity to go back home, be closer to family, and be in Philly, right? So it could have been that too. We just don't know. And I think it could have gotten better with Fangio, if they were willing to. I think if this was Fangio's only option, being a Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator and staying here and locking it in, I think he would have adjusted. I think he would have been more willing, right? But sometimes people have like FU opportunities, right? Some people say you got FU money, right? And when you got FU opportunities and people are calling your name and they want you to be in certain places and you got three other opportunities, it's easy to just piss on one, right? It's easy to piss on one because honestly, you can go to the next. And that's what I think happened, right? I think he had an opportunity to be with a guy like Nick Sirianni, who's cutthroat, who's going to support every decision he makes, who's a no-nonsense guy, very similar to who he is. And I don't think Vic is like a screamer or a yeller. I just think he's a do it my way or it's the highway type of guy. My way or the highway. So if you're not willing to get in there and do it like I tell you to do it, then you won't see the field. Point blank, period. Right? And I'm going to put the guys on the field who deserve to be on there. Right? But that wasn't the case. So, I mean, tough situation to be in for us. But let's talk about how we move forward. Right? We got a couple of candidates coming in. Staley is one. Right? Babbage is one from the Buffalo Bills, their linebacker coach. Did some research on him. He seems like a sharp guy. Seems like he knows football. That's one thing, right? But can you call plays is another thing. And that's what I want you guys to understand. Calling plays in the NFL is probably the most difficult job within the organization, right? It's just hard to do on both sides of the ball, defense and offense. It's difficult to do, right? So if you are dealing with a guy who hasn't called plays before, you're going to take some lumps. And I don't know if this team is in a position to take lumps because we have a young head coach. We need a defensive coordinator who can come in and really just take this thing by the reins and just keep moving it forward, right? We got to be able to keep moving it forward. Let me get to one of Anthony's questions. It says, CB, does it really shock you, though, with the tracker and history of Fangio besides Patrick Surtain's son? What other rookie or second-year player do you remember Vic Fangio playing right away? And that may be the case, right? That may be the case, right? So he may not be a guy who plays rookies or plays second-year guys. But if the head coach is saying, hey, I need to see some of Cam Smith, because these other guys, Eli Apples of the world, Brandon Jones, Cater Kohu, these other guys aren't playing great, so I still like to see him, right? So if Mike McDaniel goes to him and says, hey, I need to see him, then you need to put him on the field. He's the head coach, point blank, period. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter about whether he plays first year or second year guys. We don't care what you did in the past, Vic. We don't care what you did in the past, bro. This is a new day. You're in the Miami Dolphins organization, and you do answer to somebody. You do answer to Mike McDaniel. And if Mike McDaniel is saying, hey, I need to see him, he needs to get some reps, I want to see some film on him, then I need to see some film on him. You can't go against that. That's the head coach. And if you go against that, you just don't want to be here. And that may have been the case, right? He may have been saying, nah, I'm not playing him. I'm out anyway. So chunk the deuces on y'all. So that may have been the case. But I think Babbage is a guy who may get an opportunity. I don't know if he gets an opportunity with us because I think we need somebody who's experienced at calling plays. Now, if he's called plays before, hey, all power to him. I'm more willing to take the chance on him if he's called plays before. Now, Staley is a guy who has won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator, coached Jalen Ramsey and them guys in the Super Bowl, really cut his teeth as a defensive coordinator, former quarterback, switched to defensive coordinator, which is weird to me. I've never really seen that a lot in coaching. But he's got experience, right? He's experienced. Jalen Ramsey came out and vouched for him. Jalen Ramsey is really passionate about his guys too, right? So you got to take that. I think you take that with a grain of salt because I know Jalen's going to want his guy in here, but we really do need the best candidate. And if Staley's the best candidate, I'm all for it. I think Staley's going to be more willing to listen to the guys, to have conversations, to talk through some things in regards to defense. I see people talking about Ron Rivera. Vrabel's still out there. Belichick's still out there. I really would not want to see Belichick as a Dolphin. I just really don't like that dude. So Vrabel would be awesome, right? Head coaching experience, great linebacker in the NFL, great coach, great defensive mind. That would be nice. I don't know if that happens. Maybe he gets that Seattle job. There's just no telling. But we'll see. We'll see. Offense TD23, what's good? Which he says, CB, I think Tua needs an O-line to give him time in the pocket because at times we give him time, he thrives. I agree with that. I agree. But I also think, hey, quarterbacks aren't always going to get time, right? There's going to be times where the O-line breaks down. That's just the nature of the game, guys. Like, offensive line isn't going to keep you clean all game. It's not going to happen. They can try to keep you clean 80, 85%, 90% of the time, but there's going to be plays where you have to figure it out. You got to manage. And I think Tua needs to do a better job of managing, right? I think he needs to do a better job of managing because that is a part of playing quarterback in the NFL. You got to be able to get yourself out of tough situations. You got to be versatile, right? And I think that's where Tua has fell short. And I don't know if he's been boxed in by McDaniel, not willing to let him take off, not willing to get him outside the pocket and move him around. But that's something that needs to change in order for us to be successful. And I think we saw that this year. I think we saw that, hey, in order for us to really thrive offensively, we can't be one-dimensional and running outside or taking shots down the field or outside the numbers. You got to be moving Tua around. You got to be doing bootlegs. Sometimes he's going to have to take off for 5 or 6 yards if he sees pressure. That's when we're going to be at our best. I think that's definitely when the Miami Dolphins offense will be at their best, when Tua is a complete threat. And I think that's what Tua is missing right now, right, is being that complete threat, right? And I always use the basketball analogy, right? Because with basketball, you really only have 5 guys on the court, right? You got 5 guys on the court and you're playing offense and defense. And if one of those guys or 2 of those guys aren't willing to take shots, aren't willing to attack the rim, right? They aren't willing to draw in defenders, then the offense is going to struggle. Everybody on the court has to be a threat, right? Your big man, when you pass it down low, he's got to be able to hit that drop step, dunk on cats, right? Your shooting guard, when your big throws it out to the shooting guard, when he's getting double teamed, he's got to be willing to take the shot. If he's trigger shot and he's not willing to take that shot, the offense, they just going to collapse on the big and say, hey, we just going to stop you. We know your buddy ain't going to take the shot because he's soft and he's scared and he ain't willing. And that's what Tua was at times. He was just not willing, right? Not willing to pull the trigger, not willing to take off, not willing to step up and take the shot. And when I mean take a shot, like take a hit. So I think that's something that Tua's just got to be more willing to do. And I think Tua was playing it safe this year too. After the year he had last year with the concussions and stuff like that, I think he was taking it, trying to take it game by game, staying healthy, making sure he wasn't taking unnecessary shots, right? But that doesn't help us when we are in 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 and we can't do a quarterback sneak. I mean, that don't help you. It just don't help you, right? It just don't help you. But Tua has to be a threat. And we got, guys like football isn't basketball, dumb analogy. These guys here, man. These guys.
Man, sit your dumb ass down and shut.
Hey, man, if you can't understand it, then just say you can't comprehend it, bro. It's okay. You're going to be all right, I promise you, right? Maybe your mom didn't read to you at night before bed. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Some of y'all just plumb dumb. Breed says, I think Tyreek actually was bad for Tua. I think, no, he's definitely not bad for Tua. I think Tyreek was Tua's security blanket, and he became too reliant on him at times. And that happens, right? And Tua's got to work his way through that. You can't become so reliant on a guy that you're throwing it to him in double coverage, and just not making the right reads because you're so focused on getting him the ball. And I think that's what happened. And Tua's got to do a better job of reading the field. I mean, that's something that all QBs are working on, right? Especially, fourth, fifth year guys who are still fairly new in the NFL. They're still working through seeing stuff, seeing cover two, seeing coverage roll down, and being able to, expose it, take the shots. So that happens. All right. ZB Mano says Tua was willing before he started getting head injuries and broke his hip. And he was willing after he hurt his hip. Like, I mean, my favorite game of Tua was early in his career was the Arizona game. And when we go look at that game, if you go look at the highlights from Tua's rookie year versus Kyler Murray, bro, he was dealing, right? He was taking off. He was making the right plays with his feet, with his arm, whatever he needed to do, he was finding a way. And we just didn't see that Tua this year. Like, we didn't see that guy who was willing to take off, take a shot for the team, right? And that's where I think he needs to be. I think that's where Tua is at his best, when he's just playing loose, not worried about his body, just playing football. Kid's a warrior. He could play. I think he's just been handicapped a little bit. And I think it's time to let the leash off him now, right? It's time. You can't keep putting him in bubble wrap and saying, hey, I'm going to go out there. We're going to win this game. And my quarterback's going to stay bubble wrapped the whole game. That don't work. It don't work. We saw it. It don't work. So that's, hey, Woo Back, what's good? Hey, what's good with the homie Woo Back? Woo Back, what's popping? What's up with you, my boy? Fins TD23 says, CB, do you think this team needs a tight end? Because the 4 teams left all have tight end that is reliable pass catcher. Great point. I do like the point you made there, right? Andrews, Kelsey, Kittle, who's the other one? Hawkinson for Detroit. Do they have Hawkinson? Or who else? Who do they have? But yeah, they all got good tight ends. That's really interesting tidbit. I think tight end is a very, and guys, I played tight end in college. I think it's a very essential position to an offense, right? If used effectively, right? Because I feel like the tight end gives you another element, right? It gives you another element in the run game, and it gives you another element in the pass game, right? Those inline guys, those guys who put their hand in the dirt and can block and can pass catch, are really huge threats to defenses, right? And I like Durham Smythe, right? I like what he is. I like what he's become for the Dolphins. I just don't feel like he's that threat. And when I say threat, I mean like a guy like Andrews, right? He's a good tight end, but he doesn't have that real big playability, right? He can catch one down the field. He can catch one in the seam, but he ain't going to hit somebody and truck him in and go score a touchdown, right? He don't get flashy with it. He's just going to catch it and get down, get hit, right? He's more of a possession guy. But I do like the thought of adding somebody who's a weapon. I mean, we saw tight ends kind of carve us up all year. Kincaid from Buffalo was a really good tight end this year. And those guys are threats because they're in line, right? They can block, right? Some of the best edge blockers are tight ends. Like, I used to love playing tight end and seeing a defensive end over the top of me. I knew I was going to be able to reach him right off the gate, right? He's in a 9 tech. I'm able to reach him, get my hands around and give my guy the edge right now. I think you got to have a guy like that on your roster. So hopefully Miami does go invest in tight end. I do think that is something that Tua could be missing in this offense. We haven't really seen like a crazy threat at the tight end position since Mike McDaniel has been here, but it will be nice to have one. I think it'd be really nice to have one. Let's go. Yeah, Wubai says we need a good tight end. Yeah, we do. I think so. And Smythe is not bad, guys. I don't think Julian Hill is bad. I just think those guys they aren't the versatile guy. They aren't the guy who could do it all. They're the guy who either blocks well and does a little bit of pass catching, but there are guys that block well and they're like crazy threats in the pass game. And I just don't think we have one of those guys who are crazy threats in the pass game. ABAB says maybe simplify the playbook so he has time to read the defenses and audible. And I do like the thought of that. And I talked about this audibling thing on the round table, on the AFC East Miami Dolphins round table. There's not a lot of time from when you get to play in to really digest what the defense is doing and make a change to the play, right? The Dolphins ran motion 80% of the time. When you're running motion like that, it's really, really hard to get up to the line of scrimmage, get guys in motion, and do all of that. And still, because honestly, you can't really call your audible until you get the guys in motion, or you just, because you don't know what look they're going to give you on the motion, right? So people, and I heard like guys like TD say, well, you got time. You can just kill. You don't have to run the motion. Why are you running the motion? You're running the motion so you can see what type of defense they're in, whether they're in man or whether they're in zone, whether they're following them. Like, that's why you're running the motion, to see the defense, to see what kind of look you're getting. So what's the point in killing the play and you haven't ran your motion yet? You don't even know what they're doing. So that's why you have to take all of this into consideration. People say, oh, maybe Mike McDaniels just needs to stop motioning so much and just let Tua go up. Hey, read the defense, see what they're giving you. If they're walking up, it looks like they're blitzing. Your hot should be built in. You should be able to, make the adjustment. Hey, it looks like he's coming, right? If it looks like he's coming, if that outside linebacker is coming, hey, Waddle, I want you to replace him, run a quick hitch, right? Make it easy. It doesn't have to be so complicated. This stuff is really easy. Or, hey, if I see the linebacker coming, right, my tight end is in line. I know, hey, my tight end is going to be my high. He's going to do a pop pass in the middle of the field, right? Easy 5 yards. We just didn't see enough of that stuff. It was just like every play we were trying to get downfield. Not enough mesh concepts, not enough stuff in front of Tua's face. Like, we ate off the hitches in some games. Like, in that Dallas game, it was nice and easy. Smythe, Cedric Wilson, slants, things like that. And we were successful. We got down the field, right? And was able to kick a field goal to win the game. So that's what I want to see. I want to see more of that, more of stuff into his face. It doesn't all have to be 20, 30 yards down the field. There needs to be more layers to it, right? And when I say more layers, I mean a guy at the 5, a guy at the 15, and a guy deep, right? So you can see it all. But the thing with that is the windows, everything's got to be tight. The route running's got to be efficient. Everything's got to be ran to the T. If not, you're going to miss guys. So it's tough. It's tough. Ronnie N, what's popping with you? Scotty, what's good? Scotty says Miami O-line ranked 31 in pass block win rate. Tua time to throw was 45th among QBs. That's quite telling. Dang. Like that? Yeah, that's rough. But Tua's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. Chase Mosca says he's Samoan. He got that warrior DNA in him. Okay, I'm with you. Manny B, what's good with you? It's that doesn't slide when he wants to bat it. Hey, y'all going in these comments. Hey, do your boy a favor real quick. Punch the like button. If you can donate. It helps the channel grow. I appreciate it. We got 40 in the room right now. I may drop the link in a second. We get the likes up. I might drop the link for y'all. Let's get the likes up, and we'll see. We'll see if we can get that thing going, man. I know y'all want to come through and kick it. But yeah, do your boy a favor, hit that like button. Let me do something real quick. Let me check how many likes we got. See, honestly I do a poor job of this. A lot of guys do a lot better than this than I do when they go live and then they, have an idea of what the likes are. I have no idea what the likes are right now. Somebody let me know how many likes we got. That's not what I wanted to do. Give me 1 second. Yeah. All right, so right now we have how many likes? We got 36 likes. Let's get to 40. There we go. So now I can see it. Let's get to 40 likes. I appreciate you guys pulling up, hanging out with me. Let me close this out real quick. Let's go. What else we got? We need Jatavian Sanders and Lad McConkey or Jalen Polk. Man, I'm going to start getting on the draft stuff. And just checking out guys. And that's what I want you guys to do too. In the comments, I want you guys to drop some names. Not in the comments right now, but after the video's over. Check out some guys that or just post some guys in the comments that, you think I should check out as being potential candidates for the Miami Dolphins in the draft. And also free agency and stuff like that. Because I want to kind of dig into who some of these guys are. Breed says trade for Waller. Ooh, I heard we tried to get Waller in a trade a while back. That would be interesting. Waller's nice, right? That compensation, I don't know what that compensation gonna be like. And I do agree with some people in regards to that extent. It's like, man, we can't keep drafting for the big time. Trading for the big time guys. Like at some point, we're gonna have to draft a guy and get a guy on a rookie deal. I agree with that. We gotta start hitting in the draft. If this team is gonna be successful, we gotta start hitting in the draft. It needs to happen. J.R. Black, coming from an old head, what do you think Marino's influence on Tua not scrambling more? Because if you know, then you know. 13 did not scramble or do sneaks. Shula had to bring back up to do quarterback sneaks. Interesting. Interesting concept, but I think the game has changed a lot, and you need your quarterbacks to do a little bit more, right? I think your quarterbacks have to do more. They can't just be, I don't want to say one-trick pony, but guys who just are statues in the pocket, right? Tua has the ability to take off and run. There's no reason he can't do it. And, bro, you're sliding. Like, nobody's going to hit you. This is the quarterback-friendly league. So take off a little bit, slide, get down, and get to see another day, right? So that's just where I'm at with that. Like we still need him to make some plays. He's gonna have to get off pocket. Off his spot sometimes, right? He's gonna have to get off his spot sometimes. And I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna let some of you guys come up. And I'm not gonna do 10 people at one time. I might just do like a caller one at a time or something like that, where you guys come up and just kind of tell me what you think. So yeah, we'll do that. What other questions? Y'all got questions for me in the chat? Let's see. Scotty says a total tight end would be really amazing in this offense. Where do we get him? Yeah, that's a good question. Trade, free agency. Um, man, is it draft? I mean, there's guys out there. Mountie, what's good with you, my boy? Shout out to the homie Mountie coming through. What's Yes, sir. I see y'all, boy. Y'all piling in here now. Crypto, what's popping? What's up with you, Crypto? What's good? Hey, me and Crypto got a show coming on 3 a.m., right? Insomnia with Shake Money and Crypto. I'm on there as a special guest. So y'all look out for that on TFTG. That drops tonight at about, not tonight, but in the morning at 3 a.m. So be sure to check your boy out there. We had a good time filming that. That was fun. Mr. Polk, I see you in the building. What's good, Mr. Polk? What's up with you? Smash that like button, fools. Smash that like button. Let's do this. I'm gonna bring the homie up first, and we're gonna keep it moving. Hey, TDR in the building. What's good, my boy?
Brother, how you been?
Good, good. How you doing, man? What's up with you? What's going on?
Hey, I'm chilling, man.
You
Ain't nothing
chilling? You
much,
good?
I've had
Yeah,
I've had the roller coaster ride from like we all did after the
yeah.
Dolphins lost, and then somehow the Bills befriended me, and it was very
Oh,
confusing. It was
really?
confusing times, bro.
You said the
Yeah,
Bills.
man. I was fucking super viral at Bills Mafia.
Why? What happened? What'd you put out?
Nah, I was just I said something about like my daughter in remission still or whatever, and for whatever reason, the algorithm hit super hard in Bill's Mafia,
Really?
and yeah, so I don't even think like barely any Finns people saw it. It was just like thousands upon thousands of Bills fans.
That's crazy. How's your daughter doing, man?
It was fun. She's great, bro. She's
That's
great.
good. That's
Everything's
good.
good, man.
That's good. That's good. Hey,
Yes, sir.
so what do you think about this Fangio situation, man?
Man, I think that Vic Fangio didn't want to be here. I think it's pretty evident when we look at all of what these players are saying, how they're acting about it. And, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. I didn't necessarily dislike what he was doing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I feel like in our DNA, we are not bend, not break. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not Miami defense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like culture wise, right?
Yeah, culture wise, it's just not us. So it was like against what I wanted, but we were doing all right against the okay teams.
Right, right.
The mid teams, the good teams, we were getting spanked.
Yeah, yeah, we were, and I think that was my problem with the defense. And I know people say, "Oh, he was good." It took him some time to get to where he was, but late in the season when you play Baltimore down the stretch, I mean, last 3 games of the season, I mean, you looked incompetent. And I think that's inexcusable with the type of defense that we had. And I know we had injuries, right? I'm not saying we didn't have injuries, but still, I mean, the secondary looked lost. Lamar was dropping back left-handed, go right-handed, and sling a 80-yard
Six
touchdown.
seconds, 6 seconds in the pocket, bro, on
Bro,
average. What the hell?
yeah, bro, sitting back there chilling, right? And that's because you're not sending pressure. You're scared, right? That's what that seems to me. It just shows that yeah, I'm not willing to take that chance because I feel like you'll burn me. Sometimes you got to just roll the dice. If he beats you, he beats you. Shit, he already beating you up by sitting out there carving you up with the 6 seconds. So at
Yeah.
some point, you just got to put your head down and say, "Hey, we sending him," because whatever we're doing isn't working. So
Yeah, but you know what? I've gotten a lot of hate for this. I've said that the load on the front seven, the front four, actually, it was so unbearable because he wasn't rotating Agba or any of the other guys really. And
bro,
I swear, man, Vic Fangio got those guys hurt.
bro, and that's my thing too. It's like defensive line, it's a platoon thing. it's like rotating guys in and out. Those guys do not play all the snaps the entire game. Even Christian Wilkins and Zach Seiler, I don't agree with those guys playing every snap throughout the game. I think you got to rotate guys in and you got to keep them fresh. I think that's the best way to do it. And I think that's how defense is for the most part. But I think Fangio was so in love with, and not in love with these guys, but he had such a spite for other guys that he risked getting other guys injuries, and that's what happened. And I feel like, Mike McDaniel saw that. I think other players saw that, and they were like, "Man, this guy ain't it," because he's not doing what's best for the team. He's got a vendetta against somebody, and
sometimes the first to do it isn't the best to do it. And especially, I mean, people get old, man. They get old, they get set in their ways, they don't progress. I think that's where he's at. Him and Belichick, they could be friends together.
Yeah. And that's where they are. And he'll probably go over to Philly and have some success. I mean, the culture will be different for there. His defense will be solid. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy over there, like make them the number one defense in the league, but I think they'll be solid, right? I think they got some talent.
It's possible that they could, bro, but that's just because they have sheer freaking numbers. Their depth is crazy on the front.
They got crazy talent, bro. Crazy talent. And that's the difference. But TDR, man, I appreciate you coming through, bro.
Hey, good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you,
later,
man.
all right?
I'll talk to you later, bro. Have a good one.
All right, be good, yo.
Hey, shout out to the homie TDR for coming up. Man, I got the homie Hooked Up Joe in the building. Hooked Up Joe. Hey, that picture right there is fire, bro. I like that.
Thank you. I got permission from the guy that had it on Facebook. I'm like, hey, can I use that? And he said, yeah. So I said, all right. Thanks.
That's cool, man. I like that, man. What's going on with you, man? How you feeling about this Vic Fangio situation, Mike McDaniel having to make some decisions? What's your thoughts, man?
Well, kind of continuing where, sorry, I didn't remember the last person left off. I'm
TDR,
bad
that
TDR,
Dolphins rotor. Yeah.
It did seem like, we know there was the gap. He kind of didn't want to come here. I think we didn't have a backup plan. I think when he was wanting to back out, we were panicking and we were playing hardball then with him and saying, you got to be here, so there may have been some verbal on this because, we would have played hardball on that, not just let him go to a competitor, right? On a with just a straight move. So I'm thinking that Fangio, this was a try-it year. They said, we're going to put you on a 3-year contract so it doesn't look bad, but they had a verbal on it being a tryout year. And if it just didn't seem right, they just let it go without playing hardball on him on the exit as we need you to stay here type thing, right? And it worked out for him. He got his DC job. I also think when he came here, he had his super playbook that he'd been working on in the off season. He didn't use any of that with us.
Bro,
he saved every bit of that for Philadelphia. He came here half-hearted and, so in a way but at the same time, to Scotty's point, we would have been on top 5 trajectory if we didn't have all the injuries. And even with our bad early on, we were improving and kind of showing that Fangio system could work for us, that we had. To me, I was seeing some improvement. And if we didn't get hit with this and we could continue, you kind of felt like you didn't really you saw some of the tension, but you think that you don't have a coach out there where some people don't like him, possibly, right? But that's just my whole take on the Fangio thing, and I just hope we can find somebody dynamic and great and just find a real fit.
Yeah. And I think that's where we're at. I think finding the fit now, and somebody who's going to be here for the next couple years and help kind of really help build the defense. And, some of these younger guys are more willing to listen, and they're not stuck in their ways yet. I mean, when you're dealing with old guys who are just kind of locked in and they know exactly what they want and they're not changing, this is how they've always done it. They've done it like this for years. I think it's hard, right? And I think it was hard for Mike McDaniel to go to him and just, express his concerns and try to get him to make changes. And I think, when you're working with a guy like that who's stubborn and who's not willing to compromise, I think it's best that you cut ties and move forward. And I think that's what he did. So it's interesting to see, man. We'll really see how it plays out. But I'm looking at this comment from the Dolphins realtor. He says, I think we need to hyper focus on two things, J.R. Black: interior line and receiver options that can beat jams and press. I like that thought. I think you also got to focus on the trenches on the defensive side too, though. I think you got to get better at inside linebacker. And, man, the receivers really shouldn't have any excuses. This is my problem with that the receiver unit we had. We have solid guys. They just weren't being used. I think we got to do a better job of spreading the ball around. Like, we can't be so focused on Tyreek Hill that it takes away from other opportunities, right? I understand we want to get him the ball. We got to get him his targets, his touches. But you got to spread the ball around, right? We got some of this stuff needs to be right into his face. The slants to Cedric Wilson and Claypool, those are plays that those guys can make. And we got to be able to do that, man. I'd like to see us be able to do that. So, Hooked Up Joe, you got anything else for me, man?
No, man, I know you got a stacked back room, so fins up.
Hey, fins up, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Shout out to the homie Hooked Up Joe for coming in and hanging out. Hey, we got some space in the back room, guys. Come on up. If you got something you want to talk about, you got a concern, a question, feel free to pull up, man. Pull up. The Miami Dolphins at this point, I think Greer, McDaniel, Stephen Ross, all these guys should be focusing on being a more physical football team. And I think down the stretch, that was my issue with this team. This team just wasn't physical. They weren't willing to stick their nose in there and say, hey, we're going to grind this one out. Let's go get it, right? Put your head down, run the ball, right? Put your head down, stop the run, hit the quarterback, right? We just weren't willing to really stick our nose in there. We got to get some dogs, man. Got to go get some dogs. Some roof. We need the roofs. We need some dogs, some killers out there, some trained killers. Right now, we're a little soft, right? And that's cool. It's cool to have a little finesse, a little flash. But at some point, you got to get some dudes in there with some grit who going to just put their nose down and just punch you in the mouth and say, oh, we coming every play. And that's why I wanted Roquan. Roquan is that tone setter in them trenches on the defense. I like David Long Jr., but, man, we need another guy. We need another guy at that linebacker spot, them dudes that come downhill and stick you in the mouth, right? Ketchup sandwiches. Bloody mouth all game. That's what we need. Hey, I got the homie Mountie in the building. Mountie, what's going on? What's popping? What's up with you, my boy?
What's going on, bro? What's going on?
Are you good? You a little low. You talking into the mic?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, a little bit better now. What's going on with you, bro?
Oh man, I'm just really curious. I see everybody, kind of tripping about the cap situation. Man, listen. That's gonna be the least of our issues for the most part. We can create the cap space. That's not. We can do that. We can create the cap space.
Yeah.
It's just the fact of what are we gonna do? Because see, look, I know I'm a Dolphin there. I'm not a no player there. Okay, I'm about the logo.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, but I also want what's best for our organization going forward, not for just next year, but for years to come. So I'm not the one here to quit it. I want the legacy.
Yeah.
So we still have to figure out what we're gonna do with Mr. Tua. Are we gonna move off of him, or are you gonna make him play on his 5th-year option? Because we already know they're not gonna want to play on that 5th-year option. I don't care what they said prior. They're not gonna want to do that. They're going a long-term deal. They want some security. But dude, he hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned it to me. He flatlined down the stretch.
Yeah.
And you can't, as far as I'm concerned, you can't lead the league in passing and have an awful offensive line. Like You need to bring more to the table. I mean, we've seen it. Look at the playoffs that we saw. These quarterbacks are playing their asses off.
They are. They are.
They
I mean,
bring in more.
even
They're putting it all on the line. Like he's not. He can't do that now. Like he's gained too much weight. He's
so
not mobile anymore.
you think he's too heavy?
Absolutely. I liked him when his year two. When
Yeah.
rookie year, even when he played Arizona game, that Denver game, he's shaking motherfuckers and just slinging a rock, dude. He looked beautiful.
Yeah, I think Tua has gained some of that daddy weight, and he needs to. And I don't, and I think he put on the weight because because of the concussions and because of the year he had last year, right? I felt like Tua just needed more neck strength, and he needed to learn how to fall and not land on his damn head. I think that was my main thing. So build your neck strength. Don't fall on your damn head, because that's a big part of the
I
problem.
mean, the weight gain doesn't stop you from getting concussion. I mean, that's just an unfortunate sometimes
Yeah,
phenomenon
yeah, and
sometimes.
and I don't know. I think people were saying, hey, he needs to bulk up. People felt like he was too
He
small.
just needs to get stronger, not necessarily bulk up.
Well, it's kind of too late now. Your boy is bigger now, right? And
And
I
it's
think he,
work, and it's to his detriment.
yeah, and I think it's to his detriment. I think he does need to just kind of get on a strict diet. This off season, really focus on
Getting
his body.
that cardio going.
Really work on his speed, get on that treadmill and work on that speed. I think that's part of being a good quarterback too. The good quarterbacks use their legs when they need to, bro. I mean,
Absolutely.
sometimes you got to do it, and I think that's an element Tua needs in his game. And I think Mike McDaniel understands that too, bro. I mean, you can't just have him sitting back there taking shots. Sometimes he's gonna have to get off platform, make a throw down the field. It's only gonna make him a better quarterback if he's faster and more fit. It's gonna make him a better quarterback.
Yeah,
But
I just think that Mike McDaniel. I think this is kind of like the make it or break it year for Mike McDaniel. He can't.
he can't take a
The
step back.
the woes of last year, reared their ugly head again with the play calling and
Yeah,
quitting running the ball. Like, come on, bro, this is year number two.
yeah,
Like, I
bro.
be
You
wanting to
not
smack that
telling,
dude
bro. You
sometimes.
preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the
Like
choir regarding Mike McDaniel.
we're gashing teams on the ground, bro. Come on, bro.
Gashing them 4 or 5 yards of
Come on,
carry, and you
man.
just stop it. But this is something I wanted to talk about. I said, CB, I think Mike McDaniel is great at designing plays, but he sucks on game day play calling. Should he give up the play calling? And this is a good question. I don't think
Yep.
he's ever gonna give up the play calling, right? I think he needs to really adjust his mindset, right? And adjusting your mindset is hard to do at times when you have guys that you feel are limited, right? Or you feel like guys are kind of one dimensional. And I think it would take bringing in a guy like Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs or guys like that in order for him to like flip his switch in terms of mindset when it comes to running the football. Because I always felt like Mike McDaniel didn't run the football last year because he really didn't trust the guys to like run up in the middle. He didn't trust them, keeping them from getting injured. So I think that was a lot of it last year. This year, you really had no excuse, right? They were banged up. Most of it was banged up down the stretch. A-Chain was banged up at one point too, right? So you never really had that cohesion in the run game where all the guys were healthy all the time. Um, but that's what happens when you get those smaller backs. That's just how it is. And I've always been a proponent, like, you need a good 1-2 punch. My thing is, you need a running back who's going to scare somebody. And I don't think A-Chain or Mostert scare guys in the box, right? I think they scare guys when it comes to speed and, running past you. But I don't think they put the fear of God in the linebacker and the opposing defenses, right? Because they're smaller guys. And when you're running against us, when you're tackling a smaller guy, you're just really not, you're not that scared of him because you can tackle him. It's just a matter of getting to him. So
Well, it's just the thing. It's just the thing. Like I've always said, like Nick Saban said back in the day
you
when
got
we
you got a
drafted
little
Ronnie
you got a
Brown.
little you got a little feedback too, Manny. I don't know what it is.
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I think you need a
Yeah,
guy
can you hear
like.
me now?
Can speak again?
Can you hear me now?
Nah, it's breaking up. You still in the kind of in the blender. You want to go down and come back up?
Yeah, I'll go down, come back up.
Okay, I'm gonna put Anthony up and then I'll bring you up right after. Manzano, what's good? What's going on with you, man? Come on, Manzano, you in here? Get your mic off mute, my boy.
Hey,
Get your.
sorry, I was talking. Has that ever happened to you? I'm talking like I'm not on mute. Has that ever happened to you before?
yeah. It happens.
Yeah,
It happens,
no,
bro.
CB. This is what worries me. What you were just saying earlier. What CB, what ABAB said in the chat earlier scares me a little bit. If you have to simplify your playbook for a fourth-year quarterback, that proves he's not the guy. Like, that scares me a little bit that you're saying we have to simplify for Tua when he's a fourth-year quarterback.
Yeah. I didn't say that. But I think somebody did say that in the chat. You said simplify the playbook. I think simplifying the playbook means just lining up and running the play. I think sometimes all the motions and stuff, I don't think you need all of that stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's cool sometimes, but I think sometimes you need to just line up and be able to run the play.
Yeah, and I've said this with McDaniel. I like the guy, but he has this Kyle Shanahan glitch where they want to be the smartest guy in the room, thinking they can outsmart everybody with all these motions and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I saw that too. And sometimes a lot of times Mike McDaniel will piss me off with his play calling. Sometimes it's just annoying, right? The screens on third and short, just like little stuff like that. Bro, you could just line up and run the ball. Don't make it, bro. Keep it simple, stupid. It's the KISS principle, right? Just keep it simple sometimes. The easiest way to get a yard is by running in a straight line to the yard marker, right? If you go to toss it and you're running screens and you're trying to throw the ball, there's a lot that needs to go right in order to make that a success, right? I mean, just hand the ball off. Just hand it off and say you're going to get 1 yard. Put a tight end or put a fullback in the game, put some extra guys in the box, and run the football.
And I said it in the chat also, I want your opinion on this. I like Jim Leonard. He has experience in the NFL. He was a DC for 4 years in Minnesota when they went. Remember when Brett Favre was there?
Yeah,
he was a DC for that team, and their defenses in those 4 years were ranked in the top 10, 2 times in the top 5, 3 times in the top 10. And when you look at his defenses with Wisconsin, they're ranked all in defensive efficiency and defensive scoring. They were ranked top 10. And overall in the NCAA, they were in the top 10 too. And honestly, I like Fangio and I like Rivera and some of these veteran guys like Leslie Frazier, but I don't think they're that old school mindset kind of doesn't work with these younger players like that. How they want to be rigid and they don't want to adjust and stuff like that. So I think a younger guy like a Staley or a Jim Leonard or like I said, a Glenn Schumann from Georgia, they know how to use these young kids out of college correctly because they've either coached them or they've seen them play and stuff like that and recruited them throughout high school. So honestly, I like Fangio and Rivera as choices, but I would rather have a young guy. And did you see the recommendations I gave you for the safeties and the corner?
I did see that. I got to go look at those guys.
You've seen Cam Kitchens as a Florida State fan, so you don't even need to see his tape.
Man, hey, everybody's talking about Cam Kitchens. I like him as a player. I think he's a dog. I just don't know if safety will be a priority for Miami, right?
And no, it actually is a priority because we're losing our 2 strong safeties to free agency.
Right, but do we re-sign them or do we honestly lose them? Like, I mean,
No, I don't think we re-signed Deshaun Elliott. To be honest, I like Deshaun, but I think whoever our
I
coordinator.
think you gotta find a way to bring Deshaun back, though.
No, I like Deshaun, but not as a starter. Maybe as a depth piece, because
Bro, Deshaun
honestly,
has some good plays, though, Tony.
Like I said, I like Deshaun, but I think whatever coordinator, whatever scheme the coordinator, I think they're going to need a more athletic safety next to Javon Holland, and a guy, not a downhill hard hitter like Deshaun. We don't need a tradition. And the defenses we're trying to run, I think a Deshaun Elliott really doesn't work. That we want our coordinators to run a traditional strong safety like Elliott doesn't work. You agree?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it works out. I think it's all going to be on the new defensive coordinator and what he decides to do. I think Mike McDaniel and Grill will have some say in who they bring back, but I think ultimately it's going to come down to who they hire and what they think of these guys.
Oh, and I asked you in the chat also, do you think it? I keep on hearing rumors that what's his name is leaving, Frank Smith. Do we promote from within and move if McDaniel? If it's true what McDaniel said, that he actually wants to give up, relinquish play calling and just be the head coach instead of the offensive minded guy that he is, that's what a good coach does. He realizes he can't do anything, and he has to he wants to be the head coach, just a head coach, and have do the play calling and stuff like that. Yeah. So. Honestly, I think what happens is Frank Smith might go to Atlanta or somewhere else. Do we bring in is there a guy that you would like to replace Frank Smith, or do you just think we promote Darrell Bevel?
I think we will just promote Darrell Bevel. I mean, he knows the players. He knows the system.
No, and the issue with Bevel, I like him, but he seems too out of touch. He's an older. He has the same issue as guys like Fangio and Rivera.
No, I don't think that's the case. I mean, he's working.
You don't think?
Nah.
He comes from the Pete Carroll system. Bevel's a Pete Carroll guy.
But you got to think that these guys are individuals and they're going to have their own personalities too, Tony. So
okay.
I mean, you can't.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming through, bro. Appreciate you coming through.
Bye.
Shout out to the homie Tony for coming on. This was a good question. CB, what is one player that could be available that Miami has to put all their chips in for? One player put all their chips in for? That's a good question. Honestly, looking at this team down the stretch, I think it would be Derrick Henry, in my opinion. I'm just convinced that Mike McDaniel will not run the football until he has a horse back there, like a guy like Derrick Henry, who will just run it up inside and that you can pound into the ground and he's still going to be able to manage it, right? So that's why I say Derrick Henry, because I know how important this run game is to Tua and the success of our offense. It would be a guy like Derrick Henry, or if, the Colts wanted to get off Jonathan Taylor or, one of these other really good running backs in the league, it would be one of these dogs at running back. Because down the stretch, honestly, in the KC game, there's no reason for Tua to throw 39 times and for us to run it 20 times, right? In that type of weather, you should be heavy run. It should be at least, 30 runs, 35 runs to 20 passes, right? And when you go look at what Lamar and all these guys have done in the playoffs, the running backs have been carrying these guys. The running games have been carrying them, like literally, right? They've been running the ball more than they've been passing. I think Lamar threw the ball like 20 times in the last two games, right? I mean, that's what you need from Tua. You need Tua to throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game. You need the throws he does make to be efficient, and he needs to hit on them, and you need to run the football, and you need to establish yourself as a presence in the run game. I think that's just the nature of what this Dolphins team needs to be. And I thought I was getting that from Mike McDaniel, who came from this, fancy run scheme in San Fran. And when you look at what Brock Purdy is doing, Brock Purdy isn't doing nothing that's crazy. Like, a lot of his guys are running wide ass open because they're scared of CMC. They're scared of what CMC does. They're scared of CMC, what he can do. And he is a dog back there. We don't have that guy, right? We don't have one of those guys. Go look at Detroit. Their run game is off the rip. Gibbs and come on, bro. Like, they drafted that guy in the first round. They didn't care about, nobody drafts running backs in the first round. They don't care. They just know running the ball is going to be essential. They know it's going to be the answer in the playoffs, and running the ball has been the answer in the playoffs. It just has. It always is. These great quarterbacks get carried by the run games in the playoffs and in the NFC championships and the AFC championships. You're gonna see them run the ball, right? Dolphins Realtor says, but CB, they have a top 5 O-line. They do. And we need to address the O-line too. But it's not just the O-line. It's the play calling, right? Play calling is essential. Mike McDaniel needs to commit to the run. I don't care if you got guys injured or hurt. You still got to be able to run the football. There's no excuse for it. I am a firm believer you have to find a way to run the football. I don't care if you got to put an extra tackle in the box and go heavy and put a tight end in the game, put Christian Wilkins at fullback. I don't care. When you get to 3rd and 1, you got to be able to get the yard. And if your team cannot get the yard on 3rd and 1, your team is a soft football team, and you will not last. Clearly. You just won't last. You're not good. You soft. And when you soft, you don't win. Right? And that's where I'm at with it, man. I'm a firm believer in that. You gotta be able to pound the rock, bro. Like, if you can't get a yard on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, bro, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Point blank, period. You're not a playoff team. If you got to throw the ball on 3rd and 1, if you got to throw the ball on 4th and 1, you aren't a playoff team, bro. Just write your ticket and go to Cancun. Go buy your ticket and go to Cancun because you soft and you don't belong in the NFL and you don't belong in the postseason. Right? That's a no-brainer. I'm a big proponent. 3rd and 1, run the damn football. If you're throwing a flare screen on 3rd and 1, you don't deserve to be there. You might as well go get your plane ticket. Go head on to Cancun. Y'all go to Tulum, have a ball. But you don't belong in the NFL playoffs. And that's what Mike McDaniel was doing. It's on him. It's just a soft ass play call, dog. It's soft as hell. That's soft, and that's inexcusable. 3rd and 1, you pass the ball. 3rd and 2, you pass the ball. 4th and 2, you pass the ball. Inexcusable. You're just showing the other team that you are scared. You are soft. You are not willing to stick your nose in there. You are too cute. You too smart for your own good. And that's solely on Mike McDaniel. And that's why I'm pissed off with his damn play calling. It's because it's too damn soft. Like, damn, I know you got receivers, bro, but run the damn ball. I know you got Tyreek. I know you got Waddle. Run the fucking football, dog. Run it. Come on, dog. That's just bad. That's bad football. Bad football. Sharif, what's up with you, man? Throw the coconut emoji in the chat for Sharif. What's up with you, man?
Hey, what's up, man? The lion is here.
My boy said the lion is here. What's up with you, man? What's going on with you?
Right here, man. Listen, man. CB, I know you have a good optimism about this team. Ooh. And I know you think you're coming from a standpoint like there's only some tweaks and fixes and we're all right.
There's some tweaks,
but I'm
Sharif.
telling you right
I'm telling you, Sharif. I mean, we're close, Sharif. I know we lost to DC. I know we had some guys down, but I think we're close. I think if a few things go right, a few plays here or there go right this year, we're looking at a totally different situation. Right? I mean, it really came down to a couple plays from us having a home playoff game. And I know I seem optimistic, but damn, we were close. Injuries bit us.
Let's deal with that, because there were 3 players, 2 from the Bills and 1 from Baltimore, that said there were tells in McDaniel's offense.
Right.
Especially when Tua sends Tyreek in motion and you can't audible no more because it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the play clock. You can't stop an audible. So there are tells in a 2-step drop offense. And that's the problem right there. You trying to say you can establish the run, but everybody know when you throw what you're looking for. You're looking for half of the field. You're predetermined and you're looking for windows to open.
Yeah.
The problem with that is you're not doing any deep drops anytime during the season, and you're not allowing.
And you're boxing yourself in, and honestly, I agree with you in regards to that, because you are boxing yourself in sometimes with these motions, with cutting off part of the field, with not having a running back in the backfield. Like when you run these motions, like you still gotta be running the football with the motions. Like if you run, if you only motion on passing downs, and it's clearly showing and you're showing tails, like of course teams are gonna pick that up. It's a lot of motherfuckers watching film, Sharif. It's cats who get paid to just pick up tendencies. That's all they do.
When we realize when we got Tyreek and he joined Waddle, the first critics came out and said, all you have to do is jam Waddle and Tyreek. And 3 years later,
bump them off their routes, bump them off, bump the timing, mess up
2
the timing.
years later, that's what our demise was. And my thing is this, right? If you know you're gonna get jammed because you got 2 small receivers, then what you should do is just go in I formation, because in I formation, the Y has to step up and the X steps back. Just allow Tyreek to be the X. And then he'd have to drop back a yard and you won't be able to jam him. My point is, McDaniel is so deep in his playbook and he thinks that it'll work and he thinks it's futuristic that he disregards the defense jamming Tyreek. He disregards the chance of teams catching on to that for next week. Yeah. And he disregards what teams have been doing for the last 4 weeks, which has been shutting us down.
And honestly, I think you're right to some extent. I think McDaniel was boxed in terms of his play calling, and I think if he just would have ran the ball a little bit more and been a little bit more balanced, I think you got to put Ingold in the flat coming across the formation, right? You got to put him in the flat. You got to have him chipping on defensive ends. You got to have him being a threat. And I think this offense was best last year when Alec Ingold was very involved in the offense. He was chipping guys. He was going across the formation. He was catching the ball in the flat. I feel like that's when the Miami Dolphins have always been at their best, when Ingold is very involved in the game plan, when the tight ends are very involved in the game plan. You got to get those guys in space and make them
CB,
plays.
If we know, right, let's think of it from the prism of Greer wants his picks to look good. So if we know Greer wants his picks to look good, and despite the head coach, we've seen that over the last 3 head coaches, right? Greer wants his picks to look good despite the defensive coordinator, despite Flores, despite McDaniel. He wants his picks to look good. So now if we say he wants Tyreek to look good because that's $31 million and that's a trade he made, then it's going to disregard the Ingolds in the flat. In fact, I've seen in the All-22 where the check down is on the opposite side of the field. Tua would have to throw across his body for his check down.
It doesn't make sense.
Why do you run a play like that, CB?
It doesn't make sense. The check down should be right in front of his face, if anything.
The check down is on the opposite freaking side, and the All-22 doesn't lie.
Yeah, the Eye in the Sky don't lie, man. I think some of the play design is a little too complex. I think it's a little too stupid, too, sometimes. Right?
So, to me, what McDaniel need to do is to go right back in I formation, pro set. I think we need to get rid of the I think we need to get rid of the read option, man. We just need to get rid of that and just either drop back in shotgun or just I formation you to pieces.
This is my thing too. To completely honest with you, I don't like all this shotgun shit. I think Tua needs to get his ass under center a lot more.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's a part of the problem is that when you're in shotgun, there's only so much you can do run wise, right? Because you literally can only hand it off or try to toss it or do something like that and get cute with it. When you're in I formation, you could toss it, you could hand it off. Your guys are getting downhill. Those guys can go either way. I love I formation. It's a great run formation, right? You can do a lot out of it. You got a tight end in the game. You got a fullback in the game. Even if you go double tight, like there's so many options, right? And I remember like being in like the red zone area, and we wouldn't even have a tight end in the game. It's like, bro, all you gotta do is fake like you're gonna run the ball and put the tight end in the flat. Let him block for a second and then release. It's an easy, quick score. Teams are thinking you're gonna run the ball and you're gonna pass it. I think.
Mind you,
go ahead.
The Dolphins were third in terms of scoring within the 20.
Yeah.
They were third in the end. That's very high, but still, you got to be able to go down. Yes.
Yeah. Still missed opportunities, and still you showed to be very finesse, right? And it comes back to bite you when teams watch you play one way all season and you don't show that you're versatile, so they can kind of key in on it, right? So that's my problem with that. It's like Mike McDaniel he's just got to do a better job of like sticking to the run and focusing on the run game.
Now, CB, you really, really, truly think that Mike McDaniel has some kind of leverage? I don't think. I think I'm trying to remember a coach who never had any pull, even though they hire him as a head coach. He's more like an interim. And I say that because
man, come on,
you're gonna get because you're gonna get who Greer brings. You're gonna sit down and you're gonna eat it and you're gonna like it.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think McDaniel is gonna have a lot of say in the hire. It's gonna be one of his guys. Somebody
I'm talking about the picks and the free agents.
Oh, okay. You're talking about players.
I'm talking about you're not giving him the soup to put on the field.
Greer ain't that type of guy though. Greer ain't the type of guy who's just gonna pick guys and say, "Hey, you work with this guy." No,
I tell you what.
Greer's gonna go to McDaniel. Greer's gonna go to McDaniel. Well, he did that with
Fangio.
He did do that when it came to Cam Smith.
Yeah, he pissed off 3 players. He pissed off Fangio when Fangio suggested a linebacker that he can bring in. Greer did not get it. Fangio wanted input on the draft for the first pick in the second round. They disregarded Fangio. They got Cam Smith. They asked Fangio week 2 in the press conference, "Do you think you have the players and able to run your defense?" No. And I need more guys. Did they get him more guys? No. So Greer is the type of guy who's going to draft his guys. Fuck McDaniel. Fuck Greer. Fuck Fangio. I just explained it to you, CB.
You explained to me on defense, but that ain't the case on offense because Mike McDaniel get his guys on offense, right? I agree with that. I mean, I can see him. I think the Cam Smith pick was definitely a Greer pick, but I think everybody else was to try to fill the needs of the football team, try to fill the roster.
I think he didn't play Tyndall and he didn't play Cam, and that pissed Greer off.
I think so too.
Because CB didn't sit in the war room and had a hand on Cam Smith. So why the fuck you don't want CB to play Cam Smith? CB gonna play who he knows, and you gonna have to respect CB. That's what he did to Fangio.
My problem is that, bro, you got Tyndall never saw the field, bro. You got Duke Riley in there. Duke Riley's solid.
How you got Ethan Bonner in there in the playoff game and you don't have Cam Smith in there?
That's clearly
it's
spite.
like that's a FU at Greer.
Exactly.
Greer has been that way for the last 9 years, by the way. Mind you, 19 coaches Greer can't get along with And we say Flores can't build a staff. 19 coaches.
So you think this on Greer, huh? You say Greer the problem.
But what I'm saying is, right, he spent 74 million in the last 2 years to speed up the process, like I brought up on the show the other night, right? Including 19 coaches he couldn't get along with, right? Yeah. He can't get along with Fangio and he can't get along with Boyer. We just released 3 coaches the other day, so that's 21 you can't get along with. Greer, can you build a staff?
I mean,
and you're getting your guys and telling Fangio, F you need to play my guy. Fangio saying, I've been in this business too long. I got too much respect. You ain't gonna tell me who to play. And guess what? I'm gone at the end of the season because I already see where this going.
Cam Smith must have talked about Fangio mama or something.
No,
he must have did something crazy.
It was. I didn't. Please invite me in the war room on draft day. We don't need you, Fangio. Okay. Well, guess who's running the defense? Me. You You got to be kidding,
funny, bro.
Hey,
Sharif, I appreciate you coming through, bro. I gotta shut it down in a little bit. I got one more guest.
Yeah, man. Bro. But at the end of the day, I just think that look, 74 million is wrapped up in Fuller, Byron, wrapped up in Ramsey, Chubb, Connor, and we can't pay our 13 stars who we drafted. That's on Greer. We got 47 million because we got to make 3 cuts and 2 restructures. That's on Greer. Why do I have to freaking restructure just to sign my own guys when you went and you blew all of our cap trying to win with Tua? And it didn't happen in 2 years in a row. So Greer, for me, man, like, you're putting this team back in the Ireland and Tannenbaum days, man. And I'm sad. If you hoping for Super Bowl or even a first round victory next year, fans, don't put your hopes up, man. Because Greer's already put his hand on this team. That's my final thoughts.
Hey, appreciate you coming through, Sharif. Appreciate you, homie.
Thanks, man.
Shout out to the Bahamas, man. Shout out to the Bahamas. 242, baby.
That's what we do, man. We just had the kids' John Canoe parade.
Okay. You had the kids one. When is the kids one? What day was it?
It was on the 25th.
Okay. All right. You in Nassau, right?
Yep.
All right, man. We gotta talk behind the scenes, man. I got a couple spots for you to check out, man. I got a lot of family over there, so we gotta wrap.
All right. We gonna do that because
hit me on Twitter.
Okay.
All right, bet. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. Take care. All right. Fins up.
Fins up. Shout out to the homie Sharif. Hey, throw some coconuts in the chat. Throw some coconuts in the chat for Sharif, man. I heard a little birdie tell me that he was going at Cat's neck. Boy, hey, shout out to the homie Crypto in the building. Crypto was popping. What's up with you?
Oh, where do I start? I got a question. Can you hear me?
Let's go. Let's do it. I got you.
I got one question because I want to kill a narrative because when people go so hard in the paint and they get to repeating the talking point over and over again, it required me to do some journalistic work and to see if it's really it borne out.
Okay.
So this is one of them. I'll ask you this question because I'll ask you to give me the number. What percentage of the team's offense do a quarterback need to be counted for in order for him not to be considered being dragged? What do you think? What is the magic number for you as far as the threshold? I'll go there before I start spitting out the numbers of these individual quarterbacks.
I think
because if your threshold is close to that, then I'll say.
I think 45 to 50%. I think between 40 and 50%.
So you're saying if the quarterback is only responsible for 45 to 50, which is about half, then you can comfortably say that the running game or the running game is kind of carrying them, right?
Yeah, and I think some guys need that, and I think other guys don't need that. But I think more quarterbacks in the NFL, today's NFL, need their run game to be
But do
balance.
you think
I
that
think
they needed to win all the time, or is it some of the time, or certain
I mean I
particular
think
games in the matchups?
right. It's always matchups, right? It's always matchups. But I think in big games, big moments, versus good
The
football
non-elite
teams,
quarterbacks may have need of 50% or
they
45.
they need it more, right? And I think that's the
Or
case
so would you
because
say Joe Burrow don't necessarily need it, even though it can still benefit them? Like remember when the Bengals played the Chiefs, Burrow
yeah,
accounted for damn near 70% of their offense. But what
right.
but it helped them in beating them. But I'm saying, do you think that it depends on the quarterback?
I think it depends on the quarterback. I think it depends on the situation. I just really think Tua is the type of quarterback where you need to run the football and run it at
So
least
he needs to be a
50% of the
50,
times.
45 to 50-50 guy.
Exactly. He needs to be
But
that.
you don't think Tua will succeed consistently if he's considered more than
No,
65% of the team's offense?
no, I do not
Okay,
think
okay,
that.
okay. Now I got
So
the barometer.
you understand where I'm at, right?
Yeah, because you're saying it's quarterback specific. I was gonna say I think a lot of people are misquoting Jared Goff, Shroud, Purdy, and Love in their first playoff games, because all of them accounted for more than 66% of their team's offense in that first
Well,
game.
no, I don't. I mean, when we go look at the numbers,
Yeah, I did the actual deep dive of the numbers. The highest was actually Baker Mayfield was at
so
78.
so
I mean,
so
I'm
what?
sorry, I'm wrong. 71. The highest was CJ Stroud.
All right, so
He was 78.
let's talk about wild card weekend, the weekend we
Yeah, I'm
played.
only talking about just the first game because
Okay,
all of them lost their second game.
right. So
But
when we
I'm
look
just
at
talking about. Cause remember, we only can count Purdy's first game because remember they had a bye, so we only had to count that one game for him against Green Bay. He was in the high mid 60s as far as his percentage of the team's offense. San Fran only had 111 yards on the ground in that game.
right
That's not
and
really that much.
right, and what I want you to understand is when we go look at these guys' numbers, and I'm trying to find their numbers right now.
And the lowest was Houston. They had like 75 total yards on running.
All right,
So
so
it was all CJ Stroud.
yeah, and I'm gonna pull this up because I like to have this conversation because people will say,
Yeah. I'm
people
just
will
only
say,
looking at the percentage of what the quarterback is responsible for. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I see what you're saying, and that's what I want to look at too, quarterback responsibility in terms of the numbers, right? So this here is the Green Bay game versus Dallas, right? When we look at these numbers, this is wild card weekend. Let me get this off the screen real quick.
Right. All you
So
got to do is take the rushing totals and the passing totals and divide it by the team totals.
yeah. So looking at the numbers, right? I mean, let's look at them. This is Jordan Love. People talked about how well Jordan Love played in the game, right?
I
They
think
talked
his was
about
66
how
when
he
I
did
did
all
it.
this. He
Right.
threw the ball 21 times, right? So he threw the ball
Right.
21
Which
times.
means he was efficient.
That's all I said. That's all I want from Tua. All I want is efficiency, right? So he threw the ball 21 times. Aaron Jones carried the ball 21 times.
Right. But you're
Emmanuel
looking at
Wilson.
carries. I'm looking at the production of the yards out
But
of those
it's
plays.
not about production of the yards. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's about time
It is what
management.
you're responsible for.
It's about sustainability and how you move the ball down the field, right? Aaron Jones ran the ball 21 times for 118 yards, averaged 5.6 yards a carry. Emmanuel Wilson ran the ball 8 times. Taylor ran the ball 3 times, and Jordan Love ran the ball 1 time. So let's say, and they counted that as a run, but it was probably a sack, right? So we could say the team ran the ball 32 times, and Jordan Love threw the ball 21 times, right?
But it's always going to be about yards.
But it's not about yards, Crypto. It's about how you manage the game, how you call the game. It has nothing to do with.
But you got to remember, CB83, you can get 40 yards and get 40 run the ball 40 times for 50 yards.
Yeah, of course you can. but you're still running the ball. You're still managing.
But you can those can end up in blowouts.
And you're still limiting. I think you're deflecting from the point though. I'm saying limit Tua's pass attempts. Be efficient. Run the ball. Limit his.
But he's a timing
attempts.
quarterback though. That's going to hurt him.
That has nothing to do with anything, right?
If you limit his touches and he's out of rhythm, and next thing you know, you're counting on him to make a big third down conversion.
It's not. So when you run the ball, your linebackers come up and they understand they have to make plays. They got to make plays in the run game, right? And that opens up windows. So when you do go to drop back, those windows become wide open because they know, hey, I got to step up. The run is a threat. We got to get a stop here. And that's what we don't have as an offense. And that's why Green Bay was able to be successful in this game because Aaron Jones
Not necessarily.
he was picking them apart.
And the passing game was the reason why Aaron Jones was effective.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. But what did they commit to? They committed to running the football.
That was after they was ahead. They was up by a gazillion points. Of course, you're going to run the ball.
They ran the ball when they were going up 100 points. That's what they did.
No.
They committed to running the football. And
if we go drive passing touchdowns.
Crypto, if we go drive by drive, we will see that Aaron Jones had at least 2 to 3 runs.
118 yards is nothing in the grand scope of things.
What are you talking about? Like I don't think you realize
compared
how many
to
yards
272, 3 touchdowns,
you're
focusing on Aaron Jones. I'm focusing on Jordan Love's average. You overlooking the 13.3 is the 13.0 yard. That's more than
Crypto,
2 for a first down.
You're deflecting, dude. You're deflecting.
How am I deflecting?
Because you're saying passing. Of course, quarterbacks are gonna.
Passing is opening up the run. That's the only. Just like us. We are only able to run because people respect our speed.
They ran the ball early and often.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Jordan Love started carving them up early. C.J. Stroud was carving up the Browns
go
early.
Watch the game.
And it caused them there.
I'm not arguing with you. Go watch the game again.
Look at the percentage of the quarterback's responsibility. You see the total yards.
So let's go to Houston.
Versus the
Let's go to Houston. Right.
274. Look at the Singletary, 66 yards. Come on, bro. Stop it.
5 yards a carry. Right? They ran
look at look at C.J. Stroud, 13 yards per catch.
Okay, right. And
that's twice that amount, so he's twice as productive.
Where's his attempts at?
He's twice as responsible.
But you're deflecting.
I don't care about the attempts. I'm talking about what he did in the air.
Where are the attempts at? Below what? Where
are
they
at? The attempts are the same as
below
21.
Yeah, it's below 25. It's
it don't matter. There's a lot of quarterbacks that threw the ball 21 times and it barely hit 100 yards.
Of course there is. But what I'm saying is you got to run the football.
And they've lost the game badly.
22 attempts passing to 22
what I'm saying
attempts rushing. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying you got to.
And it don't mean nothing because the production in the running game was nothing.
You are deflecting from the question.
70 yards running is nothing.
It's committing to running the football. 5 yards a carry.
It's not committing to run the ball. They was running the ball because they up by freaking 100 points.
Hey,
you're running the ball by default because you're up by more than 2 touchdowns.
So now you
failing to realize.
So they didn't run it when they were down. They didn't run the ball when they were down. Crypto.
No, they had to throw. Matter of fact, they trailed early in that game.
Hey, it's okay, Crypto.
What I'm saying is, they actually trailed 10-7 in that game.
What I'm saying is, you see the balance. These teams.
There's no balance there.
The teams would bounce. There's 22 to 22.
You talking about attempts? Attempts don't mean nothing. I'm talking about the production,
bro. It's attempts. That's what you need.
You can run the ball. You can run the ball all you want. It don't mean nothing if you're not getting anything out of it.
You need to get something out of it. That's my whole point.
But they didn't get anything out of it. It's my point. 66 yards ain't nothing. 13 carries. Y'all would be killing Mostert if he only carried the ball 13 times. Stop it. You know darn well if Mostert, if any of our running backs only had 13 carries for the entire game, y'all would be murdering him.
They always have 13 carries. What are you talking about? Mostert
don't. But look at the production.
He don't.
But y'all always. But
don't get over 15
but y'all
carries.
always complaining that he do.
He don't get over 15
and here's a clear example of one of their running backs got only 13 carries and their team still won by a gazillion points.
You just said that we would be yelling if Mostert got 13. That's all he gets. He don't get over 15 carries
there was
a game.
games
What are
he
you
had
talking
over
about?
20 carries in the game. In the Denver game or in the other game, he had like over.
When has Mostert had over 20 carries a game?
In the Jets game.
Bro, what are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Mostert
but you're
is
always
not a
complaining
guy who,
as if it's guaranteed.
He averages 10 to 15 carries a game.
You're acting as if him carrying it 13 times, we can't win.
You're not making sense, dog. We need to be.
You put yourself out. Now you got rid of yourself. You done CB done exit his own show.
Nah, man. Man, you made me hit the button, man. But hey, you need to run the football, dog. I
don't think you do. I think the magic formula is 60-40, and Mike McDaniel did the best job sticking to it. I think he deserves Coach of the Year for that. Sticking to the formula.
For what?
He's my nomination. I'm putting him in nomination for sticking to the magic formula.
And that's somebody just being ridiculous. When you say stuff like that, oh, he's sticking to the formula of 60-40. That's so he should be Coach of the Year. He lost us games because he stuck to 60-40.
No.
He lost us games, bro.
That's the reason why we won 11 games is because he stuck.
It's because he stuck to 64. Okay, all right, man. Crypto,
we added another 2 wins.
Have a great night, man. I appreciate you coming through, dog. Appreciate you coming through. I'm not arguing with you, no more. I'm done.
What? I'm just saying, CB. I'm just saying,
Crypto.
That's the magic number for all Super Bowl contenders.
Okay, and we're gonna see how that 60-40 match up tomorrow. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Appreciate you.
Oh, with the Ravens and Chiefs?
Yeah.
We'll definitely go get it in that game because Lamar's gonna throw the ball 40 times and Patrick gonna throw it 40 times.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have some good weather here in Baltimore.
We'll see.
It's gonna be raining a little bit.
Yeah, man.
They might be slinging that ball around.
We'll see how they do tomorrow, man. I think they're gonna be running the football a little bit.
They're gonna run it late because you know why? Because the Ravens gonna have a 21-point lead and then they just gonna start pounding the rock. They're gonna run it like 9 times in a row. They're going to say, see, they ran the ball 35 times.
Man, be balanced. Keep Tua under 25 attempts. Be balanced. We'll win football games.
If you keep Tua under 25 attempts, he's going to be like Cleo Lemon.
Damn, C.J. Stroud just threw it 21 times. Jordan Love just threw it 22 times. Come on, man.
Yeah, and they had almost 300 yards.
You can throw the ball 20 times and be
13
good.
13 yards per catch. Yeah. Both of them.
That's how you need to be. You just need to be efficient. That's it.
And you want to say Tua? You trying to say Tua never won a game where he threw the ball 20 lower than 25 and then still won?
Hey man, Shake, kill yourself, Shake. What you talking about? What you talking about? What's wrong with Shake today?
Shake, buddy, there you go, Shake.
Look, Crypto about to have a heart attack. Crypto about to have a heart attack up here, man. What's wrong with y'all, man?
Man, sit your dumb ass down and shut.
Man, y'all boys funny, man.
Go, Shake, buddy.
Hey, man, appreciate y'all boys,
man.
Shake
money.
Hey, Shake, you know Shake gonna stick up for you. Hey, he your boys. I already know what time it is. All right, Crypto, later, man. Hey, shout out to the homies for coming through, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Fence Tape with CB83, man. Hey, appreciate everybody stopping through, man. Appreciate the members gang popping in on me. Stopping through. Crypto want to argue about nonsense, talking about quarterback yardage and stuff like that. Man, get out of here, man. Hey, but yeah, man, I appreciate all y'all coming through. This was fun. Got a chance to chop it up with everybody who came up. TDR, Crypto, Tony Manzano, Mountie came up, hooked up Joe. It was fun, man. It's always a good time. A good time to catch up, talk some football. Fangio is out. Somebody else will be in. The Dolphins continue moving towards trying to be that playoff team, that team that's just going to continue to like push towards a Super Bowl. Man, we got to talk about Brock Bowers, man. We definitely going to do that. That's a good question. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to be in position to trade up for anybody with our draft capital. I feel like we're going to need every draft pick. We'll see. I mean, maybe we make a trade for somebody and get some more picks prior to the draft, but I mean, I'm not sure, man. Maybe we trade somebody on the current roster, get more picks. But I think with our current situation, we just don't have much leverage to move up in a draft. It's just not a lot there. So, I mean, we'll see how it works out, man. And we may need to trade back to pick up some more picks. Maybe we pick up another pick in the second or third, and I feel like that's prime range. You know, first round is nice, but I think you get good value for guys in that second, third range, right? Because there's a lot of talent still there, and those guys are good football players. Those guys could either be first round talents or early second round talents, and sometimes you can get them in the late second and third round. So, man, appreciate y'all. Hey, love y'all. Do your boy a favor, hit the like on your way out. Become a member of the squad, donate to the channel. It helps the channel grow, man. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. You already know what time it is. It's your boy FinTech with CB83, and I'm out. See ya.
Came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Oof, hey, I gotta flex. I need a Nike bag, give me the check. I need the money and power, respect, but I promise I'm repping the O to the dead. Hey, oof, I told them out of my way. I don't got nothing to say. Now they can't